Hello everyone. Good morning or good afternoon as per your respective time zones. On behalf of entire Mastic Managed Services team, we would like you to welcome you all to 25B Human Capital Management Advisory Webinar session. This important synchronized with new features and functionalities as part of this quarterly release which Oracle provides. My name is Sohail Malik and I am an Oracle functional consultant at Mastic Management. Today, I'm your host for this session, and I'm glad to introduce my colleague, Vishal Sutaria, who is the part of our vast HCM team at Mastec. Today, he'll take us through all the Oracle Workforce Management and Global Payroll updates for 25B quarterly release. So today's session is planned around 45 to 60 minutes, and we'll also make sure that we also leave some time to answer all the questions you may have. We also have panelists available, Prateek Mistry, so you can ask any question through chat or question panel. So before we move to the agenda, let's have a quick look at the important disclaimer. We'd like to convey you our approach towards the Oracle updates in a very simpler method. We'll be taking you through vital analysis of 25B updates done by our experts, which will help you incorporating new features and updates easily into the system. Also, we'll sync you on any bugs or known issues if there are any. It's good to have an interactive session, so please do ask questions through chat or question panel. We'll answer them in the end of the session, or in case if we run out of time, we'll make sure to respond you back by connecting you at a later stage. So this is to give you a glimpse of how we have crafted the structure of this session. List of new features coming into 25B, detailing on features so you can get brief understanding on what new features are all about. Next one is what are the business benefits that the important takeaway for you as a decision maker. There are four components where we have done in-depth analysis of features which we are going to present to you. First one is impact level analysis, which demonstrate the impact of on the end user. If it's low impact, then regression testing can be avoided. If it's high, then we need to opt for regression testing. Second one is which we are all aware that there are some features which are by default auto enabled by Oracle, and there are some which we need to opt for. Third one highlights the nature of the feature. There would be certain configuration which may be required or some can be used without any changes. Last one is a quick win. This term we use to simply convey that what is ready to use by investing minimum amount of time and what requires significant amount of time and effort to make use of this feature. Hi Vishal, I'll be handing over to you now. Please unmute yourself and begin the session.
Thank you, Sohail. Hello, everybody. My name is Vishal, and I'll be taking you through this session on 25B updates on workforce management and payroll. So there are around 100 updates, 100 plus updates in 25B in this context. So I would be trying to go through all these updates in today's session, and I'll be trying to go through each feature around 30 seconds or so. So let us know if it's going too fast for you, and if there's any explanation or doubts needed, response on the doubts needed later on, then you can comment on the section comment section, and we would be getting back to you. Let's start with absence management. As Sohail suggested, we have segregated the features in different sections. So the first section that we would be starting in within absence management is quick wins default features with no configuration. So the first feature is absence entry with workforce scheduling. Over here, workforce management scheduling, the new module that Oracle has introduced, is now integrated with absence management. When we say that, the schedule which are defined on workforce management module are now synced to absence management as well. So whenever a person is adding the absence on absence management module, the hierarchy which is looked at to derive the absence duration would also include the published schedule, which is defined within workforce management. I'll take a laser pointer so that you can follow what I'm trying to demonstrate. On the impact analysis side, we are calling that as impact level low because this is by default enabled. You don't need to do anything to enable this feature. There is no additional configuration required, and this is a quick win. The second feature is to predict qualified entitlements on absence management module. So that, let's say if there's an absence type for which qualified entitlements are being calculated, we would also be able to see the predicted entitlement now using a predict entitlement button which Oracle has given. The impact of this feature is low. We don't need to enable anything. This is enabled by default. There's no additional configuration needed. This is a quick win. Unpaid break duration calculation. If your business has break duration included in the shift, in that case, if a person has gone into an unpaid leave, the duration of unpaid leave was earlier taking the full shift duration into account. Now the break duration would also be considered. The impact level of this is set to medium as this is payroll impacting. And this doesn't need to be enabled. This would be working by default. There's no additional configuration required if your shifts are already set on break and your configuration of unpaid leave is based on hours. And this is a quick win. Capture absence reason on time card. So far on time card, you were only able to select the absence type. The absence reason wasn't available on the time card level. Now you would also be able to do that. We would be looking at a screenshot in the when we reach Oracle time and labor section. The impact level of this is set to medium based on your business's requirement. We don't need to enable this. There's no additional configuration needed, but if that attribute is needed on time card level, then we may need to add that attribute just on the layout component. And this is a quick win. Calculate accruals and balances includes inactive enrollments as well now. So earlier, if a person was terminated and final disbursement was processed, in the subsequent months, the inactive enrollments were also getting paid, and that was creating positive and negative entries. But now, if there is any change in the past months, then only that final disbursement value would be recalculated. Otherwise, there would be no additional entries created. The impact level of this is set to medium. We don't need to enable this. There's no additional configuration required. If your final disbursement is already enabled, this should be working fine. This is a quick win. The next section is in absence management context, quick wins, where we have an option of opting in or opting out of it. So this has a few of the Redwood experience pages. So the first one is entitlements page. The now Oracle has redesigned absence and entitlement page like what we can see in the screenshot over here. Existing absences would be showing over as it is shown here, and there would be a new tab called plan where we would be able to see the plan entitlements as well. By default, it shows a time period which is shown over here, and you can remove this filter to see more amount of data as well. Impact level of this is set to low. This needs to be enabled. There is a profile value that you can enable, which would make this page enabled. There's no additional configuration required, and this is a quick win. As I was saying, this also includes one more tab, say called plans, where a person would be able to see the plan enrollments, compensatory plans, or qualified entitlements, or accrual plans. Whatever we have configured would be visible over here, as it is shown on the screenshot. The impact analysis is the same for the same page. These are the steps that needs to be performed. So as I said, the profile option needs to be enabled if we want this feature to be utilized. These are rest of the features which you may decide to opt in. Add absence through the calendar view. So far, the calendar view was not having this capability of adding an absence using the same, but now you would also be able to add an absence using the calendar view. Okay. There are few tips and considerations that you can consider while enabling this feature. There's an additional configuration required on absence type level, which would enable this. The impact level is set to low. This doesn't need to be enabled, and the configuration is needed. This is not a quick win. Now let's go into time and labor context. And the first category that we are looking into is default features with no configurations required, quick wins. So the first feature is day-based unit of measure attributes are also now supported in the time and labor subject areas. The following are the subject areas where we would be able to see day attributes as well. The impact level is set to low. We don't need to enable this. These attributes are available by default. Configuration, there's no additional configuration also required, and this is a quick win. These are a few more details on the subject areas where the attributes are added. So on left hand side, you can see the subject areas like change audit report, reported time card real time, historical processed real time, historical reported real time, process time cards, reported time cards, and worker compliance results. Under these, now we would be able to see day-based attributes as well. The next is Redwood mobile time card announcements. Now on the mobile app also you will be able to select from date and to date. You can put in certain information like start time, end time, and the quantity, and this can create multiple entries at one go uh, using this interface. So in the screenshot, you can see that the entry which was entered for from 17th up to 21st, and on clicking save, the system creates multiple entries over here. The impact level is set to low. We don't need to do anything to enable this feature. There is no additional configuration required, and this is a quick win. Now, these are few of following are few of the features which are quick wins, but you have an option to whether you want to opt in or not. So, time management area, update links to Redwood team time card page. So time and labor manager who had access to this page earlier, if they were clicking on different statuses and the hyperlinks over here, they were taken to the classic pages. Now these hyperlinks are refreshed and it takes the person to Redwood team time card page. The impact level is set to low. Uh, we need to enable this feature. There's no additional configuration that is required, and this is a quick win. So this is the team time card page where the person would be taken to. Depending on the hyperlink that a person has clicked on, the filters would be auto selected over here. So in this example shown by Oracle, the person has selected entered and the date range was selected on the previous page, which is taken by default. You can choose to remove these filters and apply your own filter criteria. The next feature is Redwood Team Schedule Enhancements for Line Manager. So my team schedule page has been recreated for line managers where the view would be like this. The same information would be visible in 4 weeks view as well. And this would cover schedule, absences, holidays, and rest days. The impact level is set to low. We need to enable this feature. Additional configuration is not required, and this is a quick win. You can now filter the team schedule page by availability preferences as well. Again, on the team schedule page itself, but from the context of time and labor administrator and manager, the page has been redesigned like this, what is shown on the screenshot. You would also be able to see pending approval absences over here, and the person's shift with time details are also shown. The default view is weekly, but you can change it to 4 weeks view as well. The impact level is set to low. We need to enable this feature. There's no additional configuration required, and this is a quick win. So the person would be able to, team schedule includes shifts or work patterns from different sources. All events appear with blue background, and these are different event titles. So public publish shifts from workforce scheduling, work patterns from workforce scheduling, fixed work patterns, start date and start and end time, basically time based work patterns, duration based work patterns, flexible days work patterns, which is elapsed work patterns, flexible days and times flexible work patterns, and publish shift from time management. Absent, as we saw on the screenshot, the absence event titles would show the status of absence as well. So if an absence is still in pending approval status, it will show that too. The impact level is set to low. We need to enable this. We don't need to configure any additional objects, and this is a quick win. These are the steps that can be performed or the tips given by Oracle to be followed to enable these features. There's an additional privilege which needs to be added if you have any custom roles defined for your business. The next feature is record absence reason on the time card. This is the same feature as we discussed on absence management module. As shown on the screenshot, applicable to the absence type, absence reasons would be shown. We have set this impact level to medium. We don't need to enable any additional features or profile options, but an additional configuration may be needed on absence type level and on the layout as well. And this is a quick win. Our team time card pages has also been redesigned. So you would be able to enjoy various enhancements to Redwood team time card pages, including indexing. Indexing basically increases the enhancement and makes things faster. The impact level is set to low. We need to enable this feature. There's a profile option that we can enable to enable this feature. There's no additional configuration required, and this is a quick win. There's an additional page. So earlier there was no page for time entries on Redwood UI. Now we have an additional time entries section as well, where a person may be able to see different entries for different employees, and we can assess the each entry as well. The impact level is set to low. We need to enable this feature. Additional configuration is not required, and this is a quick win. On the same page, time entry details are also shown in this kind of banner view, where a person may be able to change their start time, end time, or add comments to the specific entry and see exception details. Now let's go to rest of the opt-in features in time and labor context. Now you can hide, save and close actions using VB Studio. The impact level is set to medium. We need to enable this feature if we want, and the configuration is also needed using VB Studio. This is not a quick win. Generate time cards process enhancements. Generate time card process now includes these all work schedule information as well. So shift department, shift name, shift category, these details are also considered while running the generate time card process. Impact level is set to medium. We need to enable this feature, and configuration is also needed. This is not a quick win. This feature enhances the integration between workforce scheduling and time and labor. Generating the time cards using the process shift details on workforce schedule page is also available like this. Apart from that, shift information columns with read-only values can also be added to Redwood time card pages, like what is shown on the screenshot. Shift job, shift location, shift departments are also available to be added on the time card page itself. The next feature is evaluate group membership process enhancements. Now we can refresh the HCM group and refresh membership process based on certain events. So let's say if a person is hired late in the system with a start date of past, then based on the triggering event, a person would be enrolled into the certain HCM group. Oracle has given an example over here, which we can follow to understand it in more details. Impact level is set to medium as it may or may not be applicable to your business. This doesn't need to be enabled using any profile value or lookups, but there's an additional configuration required. When we are scheduling the evaluate group membership process, there would be different options that we need to select. So if your existing process is already scheduled, you may need to stop and reschedule the process again. So these are the options available on the process now. There are two options: incremental updates for all groups or full refresh for the selected group itself. So while scheduling the evaluate group membership process, we have these two additional options which can take incremental updates if there are any changes. The triggering events currently are out of the delivered conditions are HCM person condition, HCM group person condition, group person name condition, group employee assignment condition, group legislation condition, and group periods of service condition. The next one is Redwood time card enhancements. So now there is a new in the time totals section, you would be able to see scheduled unpaid break duration time total as well. So if a person has a shift which has break defined into it, then the person's break duration is also automatically captured over here. The impact level is set to medium. We don't need to enable this. There's an additional configuration required, and this is not a quick win. On the same page, the page has also been enhanced so that people working on time cards can show or hide columns marked as additional attribute on the layout. In the screenshot, Oracle wants us to see that work location, CC day, start are marked as additional attributes, and we may choose, or the user may choose to hide these. The impact level is set to medium. We don't need to enable this feature. Configuration is needed. The second screenshot shows that the fields are now hidden. In the same context, if a worker time entry profile doesn't let people to edit entries generated from time collection device, including web clock, people can't now also edit missing start time and stop time, but they can still make change requests. The impact level is set to medium. We don't need to enable any profile values, but an additional configuration may be needed. Workforce management rule sets to define new time entries break rule. Now there is the new time entry rules can also be defined in workforce management rule sets page. As you can see in the screenshot, we would be able to click on the create button, and we should be able to add new time entry rules. Oracle has shared this screenshot where they have shown an example of new rule set where they are configuring time entry rules with the break validation. Securing the delete and submit actions for Redwood time cards. Until now, if workers or line managers or line time and labor managers could edit time cards, they could also submit them. But now, if you don't want them to edit time cards, you can still let them submit the time card. The impact level is set to high. We don't have any profile values to enable, but we may need to configure additional components. This is an example of a delete option which is not available as part of the earlier configuration. To enable those configurations, we would need additional privileges also added to the respective roles, like line managers or time and labor managers and worker. So depending on the privileges given to the specific role, the person, whatever context they are logging in through, would be getting the appropriate options. These are few more privileges for delete time card action. Now let's go into global payroll. These are few quick wins which are default with no additional configuration required. Earlier, the logging was set at the global level or default level, which was applicable to all the processes which are submitted within payroll. So if on Oracle's input logging was enabled, then it was causing performance issues in the other processes as well, where we had no issues, and parallel running was becoming a little difficult. But now you can define one more configuration group. There would be no default configuration group anymore. And if a specific process is to be logged or reported to Oracle for an issue that you may be facing, that logging would only apply to that specific process. The impact level is set to high. We don't need to do any profile changes to enable this. This is enabled by default. There is no additional configuration required, but you may need to replicate whatever options you have set on default group to your own logging group, process configuration group. Now there is a REST resource for payroll relationship and assignment level costing. So you may use this to define your own REST API to access these data. Redwood experience for personal payment methods, extensibility, constant to disable, inactivate button. So far, there was no show or inactivate button to enable or disable on the bank account page. So on the personal payment methods, there was no option of that sort. Now we have that option as well. The button is by default enabled, uh, and we need to disable it if that option is needed. The impact level is set to medium. There's no additional configuration required, and this is a quick win. Now let's look into quick wins default with configuration. Payroll Activity Center has been extended with new enhancements. So now you can control which attributes and regions are displayed on summary, milestone, overview, and milestone pages. You can modify the layout of overview tab of the Payroll Activity Center as well. The access to Activity Center is based on the functional privilege, which is shown over here. The impact level is set to medium. We don't need to enable this. There is a configuration required if you want to do this. And this is a quick win. Now let's look into payroll features, which are quick wins, but you have an option of enabling them or not. Redwood experience for person results. So the person results has been redesigned as shown in the screenshot over here, where the persons we can navigate to my client group from home page, and the person's processes which are run over their account are shown. You can click onto this three dots and it would give you different options like statement of earning, actions, balance results. Under actions, you would get rollback, mark for retry or reversal options as well. The impact level is set to low. If you need to enable this, then there's a profile value that you can use and enable it. And configuration is, there's no additional configuration needed. In the same context, now you get start date and end date parameters as well, using which you can filter the processes or data shown on the lower section. These are the profile options which can be enabled to enable this page. Now you can search for a bank from personal payment method page using the bank identifier field against a bank branch. So against a bank branch, there would be an identifier. And if you are using this feature of using existing bank branch profile set to yes, then you may use this kind of search functionality as well. If this feature is not enabled, then you will still get an option of a free text field itself. The impact is set to high. If we want to use this functionality, then we need to enable a profile value. There's no additional configuration required, and this is a quick win. This is again few of the PPM controlled feature profile options that need to be enabled. Next is Redwood Experience for Messages page. So Oracle has now redesigned the Messages page as well, where you would be able to see all the errors or warnings which are defined into the system. Impact level is set to low. We need to enable this feature using a profile value. There's no additional configuration required, and this is a quick win. To enable this feature, we need to use this profile options. Again, in the same context of person result details, there's the process results is now shown as a tab over here. As you can see on the screenshot, all messages, attachments, logs, parameters, and process results are now shown as tabs, under which you would be able to see person specific details. In case you choose to roll back errored records, then now you would be able to get this kind of banner where Oracle would generate an object group of all errored records which are rolled back by default if you chose generated automatically, or you may choose your own object group, payroll relationship group, which exists in the system by choosing existing, or you can choose new and give a new name to create a new object group, which will encapsulate all the person records which or payroll relationships which have gone into error. The impact level is set to high. If we want to enable, then there's a profile value that we need to enable. There's no additional configuration required. This is by default, and it is a quick win. These are the steps to enable this feature. Payroll Activity Center notifications are now enhanced. If you want to enable the enhanced Payroll Activity Center Redwood page, then you need to follow these steps and enable the profile value. Rest of the features in payroll context where you have an option of opt-in. Now there are new attributes which can be visible on subledger accounting sources, uh, which are listed over here. Flow name, name of costing process, name of costed base process, date and if date earned and effective date. The impact is set to low. There's no additional profile option to be enabled. Additional configuration may be required, and this is not a quick win. These are the processes against which there would be the values shown on subledger accounting. Which values are shown is on the next screenshot. So against each of the processes, there would be certain objects which are sent to subledger accounting or not. So effective date gets passed from all of these processes. Date earned doesn't get passed for partial periods accrual, and so on and so forth. Offset account for payroll relationship level elements can now include the assignment attributes as well. So if an element was configured on payroll relationship level, earlier we were not able to define offset accounting on assignment level attributes like departments. Now we would be able to do that too. There's no profile option that we need to enable for this, but there may be an additional configuration of element eligibility, which would allow you to do this. Payroll cost distribution to project using time card. So this feature extends the labor cost distribution capabilities in project costing, providing a time card based distribution option in addition to the existing person assignment and payroll cost configuration methods. Now you can define your own tasks or processes where you would be sorry you would be able to define your own payroll flows where you can design iterative tasks. The impact level is set to medium. We need to enable few profile options, and additional configuration may also be required. Against the iterative task options, you would be also able to get the options like rollback all actions or refresh buttons, and we would be able to define our own parameters, and we would be able to submit another task out of an existing task as well. You would also be getting the attachment tabs or logs tab, parameters, and process history tab. You would be able to see the messages tab and click on the task iteration name to navigate to the process results page. This is how the process results page would be shown. And you would be able to get all the options which are available out of the box on the seeded flows as well, clicking on the three dots. To enable the task iteration feature, you need to use these profile values and enable those. There are different display formats which can be applicable for the parameters that you want to define on your custom flow or the tasks within your custom flow, where the display formats out of these options are available, like date, choice list of value, number, positive number, text, so on and so forth. These are the display formats of flow parameters. We can now default the flow instance name using business rules section. So using VB Studio, now you can, so far you had to put in the payroll flow name every time you had to submit one flow. But now you can design a logic on VB Studio, which would default that for you. The impact level is set to medium. Uh, there's no additional profile option to be enabled, but additional configuration in VB Studio may be required. This is not a quick win. This is an example or Oracle shared, following which we can design our own business rule. Quick wins default with configuration. And this is specific to payroll UK. So in UK legislation, teachers' pension notional pensionable pay proration for mid-period changes has been enhanced. This applies to both A and U lines. And to achieve this functionality of reporting, we need to enable, we don't need to enable any processes, profile options, but a configuration may be needed as this is taken from run results and assume pensionable pay balance feed. This would be taking into account salary changes or FTE changes if a person has been full-time to part-time. Quick wins with no configuration for Saudi Arabia. So the legislative updates for 2025, 6, 7, and 8, which is shared, is now updated for in the system for glossy legislation. Payment file which used to go out of the system is now ISO compliant. New features for payroll Bahrain, Kuwait, Oman, Qatar, and UAE. The glossy updates for Saudi citizens working in the previously mentioned countries are now updated in the system. and the payment file which goes out of the system, as we showed on the Saudi legislation, is now ISO 20022 compliant. Quick wins default with no configuration. So Oracle have simplified the process of updating employee tax withholding cards through HCM data loader. As of now, the data file includes these rows. The impact level is set to medium. We don't have any additional profile values to enable, or no additional configuration is required. This is a quick win. Redwood experience for payroll user tax withholding cards. So now through my client group, click on payroll, calculation entries, and search for the person, and click on tax withholding to go to the tax withholding cards, and you would be able to see different sections of withholding info organized in association, federal, and regional tabs. All regional tax info is available in the regional tab section. You can use Control F functionality of the browser to go through the specific region. These are the profile values which needs to be enabled to enable these Redwood pages. Health and safety default features with no additional configuration. Additional date time attributes in health and safety subject area are now supported, which are shown on the screen. The impact level is set to low. You don't need to enable any profile options. You don't need to do any configurations. And this is a quick win. Workforce scheduling, quick wins default with configuration. There's a new subject area, workforce scheduling, worker shift changes and requests real time, which would be able to report on employees and their shift swaps or dropping of existing shifts or coverage requests. You can also report on claims for extra shifts or request for additional shifts. This is by default available out of the box. You may need to design your own OTBI analysis, and this is a quick win. In this context, initiator would be the person who initiated the swap request or cover or drop request or additional shift request. Recipient one are the person who the primary person is swapping the shift with. Recipient 2 and 3 are the details related to other person for cover requests. There's one more subject area, workforce scheduling volumes real time, which would be able to report on data from the volume import functionality to understand real time information on long range forecasted information. The impact level is set to medium. There's no profile option to be enabled. Additional OTBI analysis may need to be defined in the system. Enhancements to schedule generation profile set up real-time subject area. The existing workforce scheduling schedule generation profile has now been enhanced. This would also now be including additional details related to self-scheduling rotation. There are new dimensions and attributes now available in the subject area, which are shown on the screenshot over here. There's no need to enable any profile value. Additional OTBI analysis or updation of your existing OTBI analysis may be required, and this is a quick win. Workforce schedule enhancements. After opening a department schedule from workforce schedule page, now you can review the future and past schedules also using the more actions button and using next and previous actions. You would be able to get the filters as well for next and previous actions. The impact level is set to medium. There's no profile option to be enabled. Additional configuration may be needed. This is a quick win. Like so, if you have filtered the data on the competencies, then a person's details would be filtered. This is explaining the screenshot earlier that if a person has filtered the data based on two competencies, then the data would be filtered. The on-call shift comes from one of these places: staffing department with float pool enabled, or your home department, or the dedicated float pool department with workers who have signed up for on-call shifts in your home department. This is how you would be able to transfer the selected worker from their current on-call shift to the regular shift. So you can click on the shift, this banner would come up, and the person can be selected out of the on-call worker lookup. The impact level is set to medium. Need to enable is set to no. There may be an additional configuration that may be required, and this is a quick win. Once transfer is complete, department schedule would show completed transfer in the floating resources section. Workforce schedule, and under workforce schedule announcements, transfer worker with regular shift to another department is also now enabled. Using the same navigation, you would be able to transfer a person from one shift to another. And a shift can be looked up using this LOV. Under workforce schedule enhancements, transfer drawer with open shift and details, delete the shift option selected to complete the transfer. After completing the transfer, you'll see on your schedule that the worker is floating to another department. These are few tips and considerations. You can use Visual Studio to set the secondary shift attribute, such as job name or qualification type. You can now define new scheduling rules in your workforce scheduling rules set about the number of shift types per period. These rules ensure that the worker can't work less than the minimum or maximum number of shifts with the specified shift type per week or schedule period. The impact level is set to medium. There's no profile option to be enabled. There may be an additional configuration needed. There's a new rule set page showing new option to scheduling rules add button as shown below. So a new rule set may look like this, and then the scheduling rules section would cover the rule name, level, shift type, period, minimum, maximum, and the rule usage. To enable this functionality, these privileges needs to be added to your custom roles if you have, or you need to ensure if your seeded roles are already having these privileges. Generate workforce schedule enhancements. Now there is a possibility of uh, extending the possible eligibility when generating open shifts by defining operating shifts deviation allowances. Do this in your schedule generation profile by setting start and end time deviations to apply to the profile operating shifts. There's no profile option to be enabled. An additional configuration may be required. Under the same context, generate workforce schedule enhancements. When generating open shifts, the schedule generation process first uses operating shifts in their specified priority. Then process applies the shift extension deviation to reduce or extend the open shift, then improving the workload coverage. You can also apply a new number of shift type shifts per period rule while generating and validating the schedules. To use this functionality, you need to ensure that the privilege shown on the screen is added to your custom roles. The workforce management app now also includes the security profile feature, which means if your custom roles are designed on your custom security profile, the data shown on workload plans or workforce management application would be filtered based on the security. It would also be now including the consolidated column where if a plan has consolidated attribute enabled, then it would be shown in the workload plans homepage itself. These are the filters which would be available on workload plan page. So if there are any qualifications on regarding departments or jobs or specific workload details, we can capture those on this banner area. Under tips and considerations, Oracle has given the privileged names which needs to be added to the roles to ensure that the workload management app works as shown in the previous slides. And these are few of the roles which needs to be added to your custom role or the person's account for them to be able to access these features. Workload requirements enhancements also now tracks the source of the consolidated workload. So you would be able to see the origin of it, whether it was budgeted or it is coming from volumes or workload plan shift. You would also be able to see if the what kind of workload origin was it. So if it was adjusted later on, or whether it is the actual figure which was planned or the baseline value. Now you can import day by day per week using the workload management app. So you can provide a date range for workload plan record, use Y or N attribute for the applicable day of the week to indicate that the days the workload will apply. So this is an example where Oracle shows us that the days on which the workload has to be applied, it would be based on the associating indicator. If it is set to yes, then only that would be applied. Transfer drawer with open shifts from other departments that match the regular assigned shift can also be deleted now. Thank you. Any questions? So Hill, I think the question and answers would have been answered in the comments or question and answer section. If there are any,
Thank you, Vishal.
yeah, thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you for wonderful insights. So let's quickly move towards the Q&A part. Hi, Pratik, could you please check if you have any questions that you want to take up?
see any questions in the question answer tab.
Okay. Thanks, Pratik. So you'll receive an email by next week, wherein the presentation and session recording would be available to you at a single click. So please do look out for an email in your inbox. Before you leave us, we'd like to have quick feedback on today's session. I'm launching a poll now. Okay, thank you very much for your votes. Closing the poll now. So these are the upcoming sessions. Thank you, everyone. Thank you once again for your valuable time. Bye, everyone.